Hello. So we are going to begin these tutorials on SPSS by first discussing folder setup. And the reason for discussing folder setup first is that SPSS, as we discussed, is a rather stupid software that requires you to tell it exactly where things are stored. It's not going to be able to find the data for you on your computer, but rather you need to point SPSS to where your data is located. With that in mind, I'm going to try to set up a folder system that hopefully you will be able to replicate very closely on your own computer, whether you be on campus or at home. And this way, when you are attempting to follow these instructions, there is hopefully minimal adjustments that need to be done. Having said that, it is very possible, arguably probable, that you will need to adjust things beyond simply your name. However, again, with the goal of standardizing things in mind, please follow suit in terms of how we're going to set things up. So what you'll see here is I have a Windows Explorer folder open. Currently, right now, I am on my C drive. This folder is the C drive. For my users, it is me, D Potter. That is my username here on this computer. Now I'm going to set up a new folder, which I'm going to call SPSS examples. So SPSS examples. Note, you can call it whatever you want to. Again, I'm simply using that terminology because that's what we will be using it for. Inside this folder, there is nothing. Again, I just created it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start by putting things there. And so if we go back to the files that we were working with yesterday in terms of looking on Blackboard at GW, we can begin to pull some of these files down. And so getting into Blackboard now. Second time's the charm. And so we are going to pull down from the Blackboard for our first example. We're going to pull down the General Social Survey again. And so I'm going to download this. And you'll see here it is downloading onto my computer. It has downloaded. And so now I want to put this in the folder. And so this has downloaded into my download folder, and so I need to get it out of my download folder and put it into the folder that we just created. And so I'm going to go to my downloads. Here it is in ICPSR. I am going to have both of these windows open side by side. I'm going to take it out of my downloads folder and put it into my SPSS examples folder. And so now we have a file here. The next step for us is going to be to make sure that we extract this file. Again, do not do anything or attempt to try to do anything with this file prior to extracting it. And to extract it, you may have WinZip on your computer, but there are also a lot of other types of software you can use. The key again is that we are trying to extract from the zip file, and so we need to unzip it. I'm simply going to use WinZip. That's what's on this computer to unzip this file. And so I'm going to extract it to here. And I'm going to create a new folder in this SPSS example folder, which is just called ICPSR underscore 06499. And again, that is just the unzipped version of the zip file. Going into this folder, you'll see that there are a couple of folders you have to descend in order to get to the actual raw data itself. But again, this should be exactly as you will experience when you download and then unzip the file as well. So here we again see the information that we were looking at last night in terms of we have our raw data file as well as our setup file. And what we need to do is we need to use this setup file in order to take this raw data file and convert it from what is currently a TXT file into an SPSS data file, which will be a .sav file. So to do that, I'm going to go into SPSS. and I'm going to open up this syntax file. So within SPSS, I'm going to File, Open, Syntax, and then I need to find that folder I've been using. Forgive me as I navigate my computer here. On my C drive, under Users, I'm finding myself, my SPS examples, and now I'm digging down into this Finder folder, and there again is our setup file. And so I'm opening this. I'll expand that so we can see it full screen. And again, our goal here now is that we have all of these lines of code that have been provided to us to call in this data off the txt file. What we need to do is tell SPSS where our txt file is stored. And so we need to update this path in order to tell SPSS where this file is located. And so we know where that file is located. It is located in our SPSS example folder, which is right here. And so going back to this folder, I'm clicking in the address bar, a left click in the address bar, which is going to select my pathway. I'm then going to right click and copy. Again, I would left click into the address bar, which will highlight my pathway, and then I will right click and copy. And now returning to our syntax file, I need to update the pathway. The pathway should be updated starting with the drive. And again, what we have here is we have the drive, and then we have a bunch of folders within that drive. And so we need to update this to reflect where our current folder is being stored. And again, I've already selected all of this stuff, and so I'm simply removing the previous pathway, and then I'm going to paste in our new pathway. Please note that I left the single quotation mark here at the beginning, as well as the single quotation mark here at the end. And then the second piece of information that we would need to update here is at the very bottom of the file, and we were talking about in class, it is not always at the bottom of the file, but it's the save command. And so if you were interested in trying to find the save command and you're not sure where it's at, you can simply do you can use the binoculars to do a find, or you can hit Control F and it will also pop up this prompt. And so I typed in the word save, and I'm going to find next. And it's going through everything and searching, and so we've got a couple of variables that have the word save in there, but that's okay. We're not really interested in those right now. What we're interested in is this save out file command. And again, this is the command that's telling us where the file is going. I'm going to close this pop-up just to clear the screen of little clutter. And so here again, what we need to do is we need to tell the computer, we need to tell SPSS where to save our data file. And so here we see the pathway where we want it stored, and then we also have what we want it to be called, and that is the second part. Again, we have the pathway, and then we have what we want to call this file. So I'm going to go ahead and update the pathway by deleting what is here, and then pasting once again the new pathway we have, and then the name of the file is something that was already in there, and I'm going to leave it as that, seeing as how there's no need to replace that. And again, this new file is going to be called General Social Survey, Russia Federation, 1992 Master. I need to run all of this now in order to generate the data file. To do that, I'm going to select it all by hitting Control A, and then I'm going to run it by hitting Control R. And what you'll see down here at the bottom of the screen is bottom corner of the SPSS prompt is that it is doing things. Here it is pushing through this. It's continuing. It's a transformation pending, and this is just SPSS saying, I'm working, hold on, I'm working. Depending upon the processing speed of your computer, this may run faster and or slower than what you are seeing here. And so SPSS is continuing to plot along. It's not receiving any sort of errors, so that's always good. If you do receive errors, these errors are going to pop up typically at the bottom of your syntax file, which was this big file right here. They would show up down here. And you'll see now it has returned to this SPSS processor is ready. That is to indicate that our data file is generated. And if I go back to my folder, you'll see here that the data file has been created. And so we have created our General Social Survey Russia data file just like we did in class.